Hey team, I hope you're all well. Gary here from Gary Rankin Coaching, and today we're going to be reframing stress in a very practical and powerful way to allow you to continue to be, feel, and perform your very best so that you can achieve your goals. So please make sure you get your pad and pen at the ready, and let's get straight into it. So often we've been told that stress is a bad thing. And this, of course, can be true because prolonged exposure to stress and a consistent release of cortisol in our systems isn't good for us. It has a catabolic effect where it can begin to break down certain processes in the body, and that's not good for us. But we're also often told that stress can be an unhelpful thing in the moment because we're told that stress can cloud our mind and stop us thinking logically and rationally. It narrows down our visual focus. We begin to lose blood flow to the peripherals. It goes to the core, to the big limbs so that we can run away. It reduces our blood stroke volume and how much blood we're actually pumping, and all round it can just bring about this state of panic. But that's not always true because the latest studies have shown that the effects that stress have on us are all down to three things. Number one, the level of stress which we experience. Number two, the duration that we experience that stress for. And number three, our beliefs about stress. And today we're going to focus on number three because that is profound. We've talked about the power of belief before and how the man who believes he can and the man who believes he can't are usually both right. And that the way that we look at things, what we believe about things, will determine our thoughts, our emotions, the quality and quantity of the mental and emotional resources we have available to us, and thus the quality and quantity of action which we're likely to take. And if we can reframe our beliefs about stress, we can completely transform the effect that stress has over us. And so, we're so often told that stress can cloud our minds, narrow our focus, lower our blood stroke volume, move our blood away from the peripheries to the core. We begin to lose cognition, all this kind of stuff. But stress is actually beneficial. And when we learn that stress is beneficial, it changes our beliefs about stress. And of course, one of the three things that determines our response to stress is our beliefs about stress. And there was a study by a man called Dr. David Yeager where he taught a bunch of students about how stress can be beneficial, and it had some incredible effects. He taught them about a growth mindset, and he taught them about how stress can be beneficial. And by teaching them about how stress can be beneficial, something quite amazing happened. Because in the shift in their beliefs and their cognition and the mental part of the process, it actually changed the physical response of the process too. And so the people who were taught that stress is beneficial, they released less cortisol into their bodies. They managed to retain blood flow to their peripheries as well as to the core. Their blood stroke volume remained high, i.e. the amount of blood they were pumping in each heartbeat. They managed to maintain their cognition, i.e. keep their ability to think logically and rationally, and they were able to continue to take action and lean into whatever it is they were facing. But why is that? Well, what they were taught is that when we experience stress, it doesn't mean that we're not capable or that we're not good enough or that we shouldn't be doing that thing that we're doing. When we experience stress, it actually means that we're growing. The experience of stress as we're doing something is us learning and assimilating new ideas and information for us to learn and grow. Just the same as when we put our muscles under stress, our muscles can become ripped or torn, and that when they rebuild is when they get bigger and stronger. And thus the stress we place on our muscles allows them to get stronger. There's an old saying about arches, like a bridge that's in an arch shape. The way to strengthen an arch is to apply pressure to it. Because when we apply pressure to an arch, all the blocks move more closely together and become stronger. And thus, when we apply stress to ourselves, we learn, we grow, and we become even better. And if we think about the physical response of it, our minds beginning to narrow our visual focus is to focus us on what's very important in that moment, whether it's a danger or whether it's a goal, a finish line, or an aspiration. When we begin to move our blood away from the periphery and into the core big limbs, that's so that we can very quickly take action and move towards safety or move away from danger. All the physical responses of stress are for our benefit, to keep us safe, to allow us to quickly take action and mobilize towards the finish line or the goal. And thus, in us learning just now, which is exactly what you're doing, about how stress can be beneficial, it changes our beliefs about stress. And the next thing that we can do in the moment as we're experiencing stress is to turn it from a completely physical experience into a cognitive one. So normally when we experience stress, we notice we feel a bit more flustered. Our breath is shorter and sharper. Our mind is maybe starting to get a wee bit racy and a wee bit more hyper focused on what's stressing us out or bothering us, and our body tends to feel a bit more charged with energy as we fill with adrenaline and cortisol, ready to completely freeze and tense up for protection or to go and take action. And in these moments where we recognize this is what's going on, instead of going, oh, and playing into the stress and talking about whatever story's going on, if we zoom out and say to ourselves, wait a minute, this is okay. This experience I'm having is just my mind and body mobilizing resources so that I can focus on what's most important right now. This is okay. This is just my mind and body mobilizing resources so that I can take the action necessary to get the result that I want or move away from the thing that I don't want. And in telling ourselves that this physical experience is a positive thing, is a beneficial thing, it changes the effect this experience has on us. Because the people that Dr. David Yeager told this to, like I said, when they went and done stress tests, and some of the standard stress tests are, you say to someone, oh, brilliant, thank you for coming in today. Please have a seat. Someone will be with you in 2 minutes. And then 5 minutes later, you go back and go, thank you so much for waiting. Someone will be with you in just a minute now. And then 10 minutes later, you go back again and ask them to wait again, and you induce stress along with some other experiences. And the people who had learned that stress was beneficial, as well as learning about a growth mindset, they maintained their ability to think logically and rationally. They maintained blood flow to more of their body. They maintained control of their breath and their ability to lean in and take action instead of go into that fight, flight, or freeze mode. And so, when you begin to experience stress, remind yourself, this is okay. This is just my body mobilizing resources so that I can focus on what's most important and take the action necessary. And in doing that, you will notice that you become a wee bit calmer, that you are able to retain your ability to focus and to think more clearly, that you can breathe more deeply, and thus the adrenaline and cortisol that you're experiencing, the sharpening of your vision and things that you experience, can now all be used to your benefit as opposed to your detriment. And I have used this myself plenty since learning about it. One of the coolest times, I was getting acupuncture, and as the doctor was adjusting the needles, it was a wee bit uncomfortable. So I got that hot flush. I felt the sweat on my forehead. My breath started going shorter and sharper. My body was tensing up and twitching. And I reminded myself, this is okay. This experience, what I'm feeling in my body, is my body mobilizing resources so that I can focus on what's most important, which is the wee physical stresses I'm experiencing in my body. And as soon as I had that mental conversation with myself, my breath went deeper, my temperature came down, my forehead stopped sweating, and the coolest thing, every single time the doctor put in a needle, my body stayed completely relaxed and stopped tensing and twitching. And so, what I would like you to do from here as well as having these mental conversations when you experience stress, is go and learn more about how stress is beneficial. Because the more you learn about how stress can be beneficial, the more it's going to change those beliefs, and thus, the more you believe stress is something that can be to your benefit, the more to your benefit it is going to be. So 2 key things for you to do here. Number 1, straight from here, go and Google the benefits of stress or how stress can be beneficial, and go and read about it, learn about it, get yourself involved in it so it really begins to sink in. And then number 2, I want you to go and teach someone this. And you don't need to be an expert, you just need to tell them what I've told you. Because one of the best ways for us to learn is to teach. So by going and teaching someone else that stress can be beneficial and explaining to them what I've explained to you, you're going to be assimilating and taking it in even more, and thus changing your beliefs and making stress even more beneficial to you. Because remember, the man who believes he can and the man who believes he can't are usually both right. And so if we believe stress is bad, it will be bad. If we believe stress can be good, i.e. stress can be enhancing for our performance, it will enhance our performance. So go and learn more about the benefits of stress. Go and teach someone about the benefits of stress. And if and when you're experiencing stress, come back into your head, take that wee zoom out and remind yourself, this is okay. This is just my body mobilizing resources so that I can be, feel and perform my best for the thing at hand right here in this moment. If you have any questions about anything we've covered, please feel free to ask your coach to reach out to me for you, or feel free to reach out to me directly on Instagram at GaryRankin_. Until next time, go and learn about the benefits of stress. Take care, take action, and I'll see you real soon. Peace.